Welcome to the movie Recapped. Today we will recap the movie Selfless. Damien Hale is a rich businessman in New York City. He is looking out of the big windows of his tall apartment building. A nurse is leaving after finishing her work. Damien has a very serious cancer and only has 6 months left to live. During lunch with his best friend Martin, they talk about Damien's illness. Damien hasn't told his daughter Claire about it yet. Damien and Claire don't have a good relationship because he was always working and didn't spend enough time with her when she was growing up. Martin thinks that if Claire knows about the illness, she might forgive Damien and they can make things better. Damien tries to call Claire from his limousine, but she doesn't answer. He finds a business card for a company called Phoenix Biogenetic and remembers talking to its owner, Dr. Albright. The doctor's main goal is to help smart people live longer and reach their full potential. He has made a device that can move a person's mind from one body to another, which he calls shedding. The company offers perfect genetically engineered bodies to people who can afford them. Damien asks the doctor why their service is illegal, and the doctor tells him he asked the wrong question. The right one is, do you feel immortal? Damien goes to see his daughter Claire, who runs a non-profit organization. He gives her money to make things right before he dies, but she refuses, thinking he's trying to manipulate her. Later, disappointed with how things turned out, Damien desperately researches shedding and Phoenix Biogenic. He learns that the procedure was invented by Dr. Jensen, who wanted to free the mind from the body. However, Damien's illness worsens, and he decides to undergo the procedure. After contacting Albright, he schedules the switch and is told to publicly fake his death in New Orleans. The next day, Damien meets Martin for lunch in New Orleans and fakes a seizure. Instead of going to the hospital, he is taken to Phoenix Biogenic. They quickly start the procedure, and Damien's consciousness is transferred into a new young body. After Damien switches bodies, he sees his old body lying unconscious and dead, which shocks and disgusts him. He feels sick and throws up. Albright explains that it will take a few days for him to adjust, and Damien starts seeing strange things, like objects changing shape and hallucinating a picture of a field with horses. The doctor sarcastically remarks that these are side effects of the process. Damien has to stay in the hospital and go through training and physical therapy to get used to his new body. He can't return to his old life and has to create a fake biography and use a new name, Edward Kidner. At first, Damien is confused and desperate, but he starts liking his handsome new appearance. However, the hallucinations and headaches persist. Albright gives him pills to help with the transition. If he doesn't take them, he could die or suffer severe migraines and hallucinations. Damien must regularly meet Albright in New Orleans to get his weekly supply of pills. After completing the training, Damien moves to a beautiful house in New Orleans, now his home. He quickly adapts to his new life, playing basketball and meeting his neighbor Anton. They go out to a club, and Damien, now a handsome young man, gets a lot of attention from women. However, he still struggles to answer questions about his life, job, and age, making people think he's a bit strange. Despite this, Damien settles into a new routine, hanging out with friends, enjoying life, and taking his pills regularly. Damien gets tired of his new routine, especially because he can't see his daughter. One day, he forgets to take his pill and starts hallucinating. He sees memories from his time in the army and images of a small town with a pumpkin tower. In the hallucinations, he sees a mother and her sick daughter living in the countryside, and he thinks it's a real memory. When Damien tells Dr. Albright about the hallucination, the doctor dismisses it as a mix of old memories and current emotions. To distract him, Albright gives Damien tickets to Hawaii and increases his medication. Damien becomes suspicious of Albright when he realizes the doctor knew the woman in his hallucination was Latina, even though he never mentioned it. To find answers, Damien decides to trick Albright and goes to the small town in St. Louis instead of Hawaii. Before leaving, he digs up a box he buried in the graveyard, which contains money, documents, and credit cards. He heads to the airport, but one of Albright's men follows him. Damien arrives at the small town and finds the pumpkin tower he saw in his hallucination. He sees a house nearby and enters, discovering medical bills and parts of a respirator machine. Most importantly, he finds a picture of Madeline and Anna, the mother and daughter from his hallucination, along with a picture of himself. Damien realizes that his new body was not genetically engineered but belonged to a real person with a life. Madeline returns home and, mistaking Damien for her dead husband, points a gun at him. Damien tries to explain, but Albright's men arrive and try to kidnap him. His friend Anton, who worked for Phoenix Biogenetics and was spying on him, is also involved. Anton reveals that Madeline's husband, Mark, agreed to give his body to Phoenix Biogenetics in exchange for money to cover his daughter's treatment. Damien is shocked and confronts Anton, explaining that Albright is a murderer. Anton responds with a cold-hearted metaphor, comparing Damien's situation to buying a used car with hidden miles. He warns Damien not to return to the house, as they plan to kill Madeline and burn her property. Damien decides to save Madeline and tricks Albright's men by pretending to take his pills and then attacking one of them in the bathroom. Using his army instincts, Damien defeats several of Albright's men and wakes up Madeline. However, he loses his pills during the fight. Anton and the others try to set the house on fire, but Damien and Madeline hide under a platform and shoot them in the legs. Damien kills all of Albright's men and escapes with Madeline in a car. To protect Madeline and her daughter Anna, Damien lies and pretends to be her husband, saying he took on some dangerous work to pay for Anna's medicine. They go to save Anna at her school, where she mistakes Damien for her dad and hugs him, happy that he's alive. They stay at a motel, and Damien uses a computer to research Phoenix Biogenic. He discovers that Albright was a student of Dr. Jensen, the company's founder, and finds Phyllis, Jensen's wife's address. Since he doesn't have his pills, Damien gets a migraine and starts hallucinating again. Madeline gets worried, but Damien decides to visit Phyllis to learn more about the company. The next morning, Damien and Madeline go to the nursery home where Jensen's wife lives. Damien pretends to be a student doing research on Jensen's work and asks Phyllis for the doctor's old papers and documents. Phyllis, who has Alzheimer's, believes Damien and tells him lots of information. Damien figures out that Albright visits Phyllis every week because Jensen is using Albright's body. Damien asks Phyllis to call Albright and invite him over. When Albright arrives, Damien points a gun at him and demands more pills. But Albright tells him a hard truth: the more pills he takes, the more he loses his own identity and fighting skills, and Mark, the original owner of the body, takes over. Damien kidnaps Albright and forces him to take him to the lab. On the way, Albright's men attack and disarm Damien. They are about to take him away when Madeline arrives and hits one of the men, who turns out to be Anton in a new body. Damien and Madeline manage to fight off the guards and escape in their car. Madeline becomes suspicious of Damien's behavior and asks him about their daughter's birthday and other details of their life. Damien can't answer, so he explains the situation to Madeline while Anna watches from the car. Madeline gets angry because Damien manipulated her and doesn't want to disappoint Anna by explaining that the man who looks like her father is actually a stranger. Despite her distrust, Madeline knows they need to work together to survive the threat from Albright's men. The billionaire comes up with a plan to seek help from his friend Martin and keep Anna and Madeline safe. At Martin's mansion, Damien convinces him of the truth by sharing details only they know. Martin agrees to help and organizes their escape. Damien worries about telling Anna that she won't see her real father again, but he starts bonding with her and creates happy memories together, like teaching her to swim. Madeline feels attracted to Damien since he's in her husband's body and kisses him. Damien feels uneasy, so he opens up about his past life to distract her from Mark. However, he notices all the mirrors are covered, and he suspects something is wrong. Damien finds Martin's child, who was also given a new body by Phoenix Biogenetic. Martin betrayed them to Albright, and killers are waiting outside to capture and kill them. Damien confronts Martin and makes him realize that the little kid's body was not created in a lab but belonged to someone else. Martin decides to genuinely help them this time. He takes Madeline and Anna to safety through a forest while Damien leads Albright's men in a car chase. They crash, and Damien ensures they are all dead. Damien meets Martin later and learns that Madeline and Anna got kidnapped by Albright's men. Martin planted the business card from Phoenix Biogenetic to help Damien. He also cracked the formula for Albright's pills and can make them from scratch. Damien contemplates whether he should keep taking the pills, as it means erasing Mark's memories. He decides to pause taking them to use Mark's memories to find the lab's location and save Madeline and Anna. During his withdrawal, Damien notices a Mardi Gras float storage near Albright's lab, so he goes to New Orleans to find it. He breaks into the lab and attacks guards without being seen. Inside, he sees two new bodies meant for transfer. Albright appears behind a glass wall and reveals that Madeline's body matches a client's needs, and Anna's organs won't go to waste. Damien shoots at the glass but is overpowered by Albright's men. They plan to transfer Anton's consciousness into Damien's body. Before the transfer, Damien swallows a bullet in secret. When Anton wakes up in Mark's body, he's sent to assassinate Madeline and Anna. However, he ends up saving them, revealing that it was Damien in Mark's body all along. They fight off Albright's men and confront him in a room with a glass wall. Damien reveals that he listened to instructions before the first procedure and swallowed a bullet to prevent the transformation. He kills Albright with a torch. After escaping, Madeline and Anna go to a safe place Martin found, while Damien decides to see Claire. Damien poses as his father's friend and opens up to Claire, expressing regret for not spending time with her and being proud of her. He leaves her a letter before departing. Later, Damien wakes up in a hotel room and discovers a video of himself. He realizes he's no longer in Mark's body. Damien made the decision to stop taking the pills, allowing Mark to regain control of his life. Mark is grateful and reunites with Madeline and Anna on a beautiful tropical island.